The night Rory Feek thought he lost his daughter in the middle of the night, on the floor of their Tennessee farmhouse, country singer Rory Feek and his wife Rebecca held their 12-year-old daughter in their arms, pleading with her to open her eyes. Just 2 weeks earlier, Indiana, known to everyone as Indy, had come through successful open-heart surgery. This was supposed to be the recovery. Instead, it became one of the most terrifying nights of her parents' lives. This is the story of that night, the emergency flight that followed, and the fight to bring Indy home safely. Indiana Feek, born with Down syndrome, had lived for years with a ventricular septal defect, a hole in her heart that doctors had long known would eventually need surgical repair. On 25th June 2026, she underwent open-heart surgery at Dell Children's Medical Center in Austin, Texas. It went well. Doctors were pleased. The family returned home to Tennessee, relieved and hopeful that the hardest part was finally behind them. For 2 weeks, that hope held. Indy was recovering, healing, slowly getting back to herself. Rory has since described what happened with a rawness rarely seen from a public figure. What began as what looked like a stomach bug and a headache escalated with terrifying speed. In the middle of the night, Indy began vomiting, then lost consciousness. Rory and Rebecca could not wake her. By his own account, the two of them ended up on the floor of the bedroom holding their daughter, begging her to open her eyes. Rory has said plainly that he and Rebecca have never in their lives been more frightened than in that moment. In writing about it afterward, he admitted he could barely bring himself to put into words what they feared in that moment, that they might have already lost her. Within hours, Indy was airlifted by helicopter from Waco to Dell Children's Medical Center in Austin, the very hospital where her surgery had taken place just 2 weeks earlier. Rebecca rode with her in the air. Rory followed behind by road, left to make that drive, not knowing exactly what he'd find when he arrived. At the hospital, doctors quickly identified the cause. Fluid had built up dangerously around Indy's heart, a rare but serious complication following her surgery, preventing the organ from beating as it should. X-rays showed the swelling had grown to roughly twice its normal size. Emergency surgery was needed immediately to drain the fluid. Doctors ultimately removed 610 cubic centimeters of fluid from around her heart. The moment everything turned, the moment the fluid was drained, Indy's heart rate returned to normal almost immediately. Rory has described watching the color return to his daughter's face in real time, and, in his words, the color returning to his and Rebecca's faces as well, as the fear that had gripped them for hours finally began to lift. Doctors told the family Indy was doing great and expected a full recovery, though she'd remain in hospital for close observation. In the end, she stayed 8 days at Dell Children's Medical Center, longer than initially expected, simply so doctors could be completely confident she wouldn't need to come back anytime soon. Throughout those 8 days, Rory has spoken about how humbled the family felt by an outpouring of support from fans and strangers alike. Cards, messages, and prayers arriving from people who had never met Indy, but who cared deeply about her anyway. On 18th July, Rory finally shared the news the whole family, and thousands of strangers following along had been praying for. Indy was cleared to go home. He greeted the news, in his own words, with a single, heartfelt hallelujah. That night, the family took a quiet walk together down the lane near their home, simply grateful to be together and grateful that a night that had begun in terror on a bedroom floor had ended 2 weeks later with Indy safely back where she belonged. Rory and Rebecca have both said the experience left them with a far deeper gratitude for every ordinary moment, the kind it's easy to take for granted, until, in an instant, everything can change.